These cuts are brutal, they're chaotic, and they're dangerous. They will impact on thousands of public servants whose lives have been put into turmoil.
At the Education Ministry, 565 roles could go, including 225 vacancies. The PSA says the cuts will hit areas including the newly established Curriculum Centre, half the team behind the school lunches program and regional support staff.
So there's an example. Let's just talk about school lunches. Rimmer's got a bee in his bonnet about school lunches and how it should operate and how it should work better. How is that going to work better with half the number of staff who are currently running it then running it? Like, I know that's the smallest number of those three, but that's a very tangible thing that's been talked about for the past several weeks. Now you would have had 30, you've now got 14 running it. How do they expect a better outcome with half the number of people running that office than were running it previously? And remember, running it to a point where experts were saying this should be rolled out into more schools, not this is a waste of money, it should be in fewer schools. Do you want to say anything, Chewie, or should I push play?
Yeah, I do. This is working as intended. They want to make sure that this program fails. They want to make it inefficient.
Yeah.
This isn't a bunch of people sitting in a back room shuffling papers. This is staff scattered throughout the country, making sure that the program is nutritious, making sure that there isn't waste, making sure that schools are supported running it, making sure it runs well. If they're cutting those jobs, the people actually out there, literally on the front line of making this program work, then they want to break the program and then turn around and go, it's not generating good outcomes.
Yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's engineered.
Yeah. And this is what we've been saying now for weeks, you know, the right, and I know some of you will be sick of it, but we're going to keep banging on a few of these things. The right constantly says government is broken. Then they get in, pass policies like this, which are going to break government. Then they step back and go, see, we told you it was always broken, as they've broken it. So that's clear. And you're right, Joey. This is exactly what that is. It does make me think as well, you know, with the Suicide Prevention Office, how there were some questions asked when that came out. I wonder if the CEO of that area in government was going a bit scorched earth. I wonder if the CEO is going, okay, so it's up to us, is it? All right, then let's tell the government we're getting rid of this office and see what happens. And I wonder what's going to happen with some of these positions. Like, all we're hearing is back office, back room. Like, we still haven't had that identified who and what that is. Like, what job is a back room job? And remember, the back room feeds the front line. You don't have the back room, then people from the front line have to then take on some of the responsibilities of the back room, making them less likely to be available for the front line.
To use that analogy, the front line versus the back office, right? The front line, that's a military term. They always say the tail to the teeth is 3 times the size. So to support a unit, a soldier in the field, there's like 9 people dedicated to supporting that one guy, making sure that he gets everything he needs, he's told where he needs to go, all of this sort of stuff. If you just have front line, it's a guy in a hole trying to win the war. It doesn't work.
Interesting. Really, really interesting analogy, Chewie. All right.
And those are the people that schools call every single day.
Exactly.
Those are the people that principals ring out for advice, for contact, for support with learning needs, student outcomes, all of these things. So it's really disappointing to see those cuts taking place.
We will be opposing every job cut. We know that they will have a devastating impact on children and young people for generations to come.
The Education Secretary, Iona Holstead, says that's a mischaracterisation, adding in a statement, the PSA's comments generate unnecessary concern for parents. The government says money saved from today's Education and Oranga Tamariki cuts will go to the front line.
You can be confident that as we go through the budget, there'll be an increase in support and resources and funding for Oranga Tamariki and education.
Since 2018, staff numbers at the Education Ministry have grown by nearly 50%.
Why? So this is the part again that we're missing. Why? Why is it growing? Because maybe it's needed to grow. Maybe it hasn't. We don't know. But no one's asking why has it grown? Because this is what I'm asking of National. Why are you shrinking? I don't care about bottom dollar can't afford, because we can afford. You're just choosing to put money elsewhere. Why is it growing? Why did it grow? for good reasons, for bad reasons, for neutral reasons, and why are we cutting it? They're the questions that we're not answering. No one's getting asked to be answered.
Over the same period at Oranga Tamariki, levels increased by a fifth. The agency responsible for vulnerable children plans to axe 9% of its staff, 447 roles.
You can't take a whole middle layer of an organisation away and say that the frontline's going to carry on at producing really high quality work. That's never going to happen.
Oranga Tamariki says it wants to transform rather than tinker, putting children at the centre. But advocates say young people are the ones being overlooked. Kushla Norman, One News.
There you go. There's the first story for tonight, Chewy.
Sam,
I keep getting asked. I keep asking myself as well. It's this question of why. And I want to know. I want to know why. Why do we need to reduce numbers? And I don't and I won't accept because we can't afford it. Because we can afford it. You're just choosing to allocate the money elsewhere. Right? We can afford it. And if the reason is only because we can't afford it, then you cannot deny you're making these cuts so you can give landlords $3 billion. Because if that's the only rationale that you can come back to because we can't afford it, that's a financial decision you've made to give more money in another area. So please, someone who has access, I have emailed Rimmer several times since we told him why he was racist. He has never wanted to come back on again. Brooke Van Velden never wanted to come back on. Winston hasn't wanted. They won't give us access, and actually I'm okay with that. We don't deserve anyone's time. They don't have to do it, right? But people with access, ask them why. Why is there a reduction in numbers? And do not accept, because we can't afford it. So we can. It's a financial choice you're making. Chewy?
There's enough money in the kitty for them to do a study on a dream tunnel, 4-kilometre tunnel under Wellington. There's enough money for that. That's the sort of project that you go, oh shit, we haven't spent our budget. Maybe we'll have a look at this. That's
end of the financial year. You got to get all that money out so we don't get taxed. End of the financial year kind of thing.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've said this a couple of times, and governments come at this sometimes backwards. And it should be like, what do our schools need? What does our health department need? How much money do we need to feed kids? Yeah. Work out your budget and then work out how to fund it. But they've come the other way around. Oh, we want to deliver tax relief.
Yeah, you're right.
I love that term. Cuts. We want to deliver cuts. Tax cuts and job cuts. And they're coming at it from that. And then to go, oh, there's not enough money. The fuck it is. You're giving it away. I want to see that money invested into our communities. I want to see that money invested into people that don't have a great time of things. I want to see this money literally poured into the youth of this country. I don't care. Like, there shouldn't be a question of like, oh, the Ministry of Education is overfunded. No such word. Don't recognize that statement at all. Like, I want to see every school with a lunch program. Every school. Like, it's not a question of Seymour's like, oh, we've got to target it at the most needy. We've got to really single out those people that are too poor and the ones with shit parents. Just roll out a food program. Other developed countries have it. It's not about poverty. It's about the kids are at school all day. Why don't we just feed them?
Yeah.